This Glow CPD TV session is designed to provide an overview of the phonics interspelling approach used at stages 4 and 5. In stages 4 and 5, children will continue to develop their phonemic awareness and understanding through a structured programme that aims to build confidence and engage children in their learning in an enjoyable and interactive way. Further support and guidance can be found in Booklet 1 of the Stage 4-5 pack. The disc labelled Teaching Phonics Interspelling is very useful, and we would recommend this be put on the shared area of your school network. It contains lots of activities including diacritical marking, phoneme stories and place the word. There are lots of different activities on this disc which include both the core and extension materials. It is recommended that approximately 10 to 15 minutes is spent daily on a spelling session. The programme aims to provide an approach to the process of phonics interspelling and consists of a 4-week approach. During weeks 1 and 2 of every month, the pupils will adopt an investigatory or problem-solving approach on how to build up and spell words with the same phoneme sound, but are written in different family groups and therefore have different written representations. During weeks 3 and 4 of every month, children will work with words that cannot be spelt using their knowledge of phonics. At these stages, children must be encouraged and taught to investigate for themselves and work with a spelling buddy or partner on common words, tricky words, topic-specific words, and new words. The reciprocal teaching method introduced in the previous stages is also continued in stages 4 and 5. Improving spelling and learning to spell are not just about copying out words many times. In stages 1 to 3, a fun and active approach is used to develop the children's phonic knowledge and spelling competence. This approach is continued in stages 4 and 5, where they are encouraged to look at, think about, and investigate the phonetic structure of words which have the same auditory sound but different written representations. Useful materials and resources that you will need for this stage include whiteboards, pens, a teacher blank A3 phoneme chart, blank phoneme grid, or you may decide to do this in your daily writing jotter, a copy of the diacritical marking lists and a copy of the diacritical answer sheet, phoneme stories for pupils and teacher, coloured pens and pencils, and Elkonin boxes. On day 1 of week 1, the teacher will select the unit or the phoneme to be taught. It will be introduced and the children will be asked to think about different ways the phoneme can be written. The children will discuss with their partner and consider other ways of making this sound. The teacher will list the different written representations in the separate family columns. With their partner, children will give examples for words in each column, and then using their whiteboards, record as many words as they can in these family columns. The lesson concludes with a feedback session where the children will share their answers with the teacher and the rest of the class. Here is an example of a completed phoneme chart for the phoneme oo, which is Unit 5. On day 2, the teacher will recap the learning from the previous day. With a partner, the children will make up their own phoneme chart, inserting a different phoneme representation in each column. Working in pairs, they list as many words as possible in the family columns. The teacher invites feedback and records on his or her A3 phoneme chart. This gives the children the opportunity to record words and check their own. Partners may tick off any words they have placed in the correct family column and add in any words they may have missed. On day 3, the children read their words from the teacher's completed phoneme chart. The teacher will then model the Elkonin boxes, asking how many sounds there are in each word. The children will record these words on their own Elkonin boxes. On day 4, the children work with their spelling partner on a look, think and investigate task. They use the reciprocal teaching method, where one pupil is the word caller or checker and the other is the word writer. They alternate these roles. At this point, the teacher will circulate amongst the pairs. On day 5, the partners read aloud from their phoneme lists. One partner will read 5 words and the other partner writes down the words circling each phoneme. Partners check for accuracy and then swap roles. They can challenge themselves to see how many words they can record accurately in a set time. Here is an example of the Elkonin boxes, which are also used in previous stages. Week 2. This provides an overview for the methodology for days 6 to 10. Children are introduced to diacritical marking on day 6. The teacher takes the A3 phoneme chart and explains the diacritical marking code. The teacher will then model how to diacritically mark approximately 2 words per family column. Working with a partner, the children select words within a family column and diacritically mark them. Children will record the number of sounds or phonemes in each word, and the teacher will assess and provide feedback. The children will then work in pairs to correct their own marking using the answer sheets provided. Days 7 and 8, the children will diacritically mark the remaining words on their phoneme charts. In pairs, children continue partner spelling using words from the 2 columns on which they have been working. Partners discuss any parts of the word they may have found difficult and come up with an appropriate strategy to overcome the difficulty. On day 9, the children will use the phoneme stories. They read them together and then select a paragraph to dictate to their partner. Reversing the roles, they will then mark each other's work and provide feedback. Day 10 is used for consolidation of all the teaching that has taken place over the previous days. It is also an opportunity for teachers to assess pupil competence. The diacritical marking code records single phonemes, joined phonemes and split phonemes. A single phoneme is marked with a dot. Joined phonemes are marked by underlining, and split phonemes are marked with a joining loop. Here is an example of a completed diacritical marking chart where you can see the number of phonemes have been recorded in the little columns. Remember that Disc 1 has all the phoneme stories available for the children. Weeks 3 and 4. During weeks 3 and 4, a thinking strategy approach is applied to spelling. It is used to help the children learn common, tricky, topic and cross-curricular words that cannot be spelt using their phonic knowledge. Strategy spelling is used for many words, and the children should be led through a range of spelling strategies that have also been taught in the previous stages. Children are encouraged at this stage to investigate new words for themselves or with a partner to decide which strategy is most appropriate. The Stage 4-5 programme involves the children in thinking aloud and deciding on the most appropriate strategies to use for the spelling words they are trying to learn. After looking at the words, thinking about them and investigating them, the teacher and the children discuss which is the most appropriate strategy to use. Some examples of different strategies can be found on pages 217 and 218 of Booklet 1. Week 3 methodology. Day 1 begins with a whole class lesson when the teacher shares and models a few of the focus strategies. The teacher will then select 2 or 3 words from their word lists and begin to discuss these with the children, thinking about which strategies may be most appropriate. The teacher demonstrates by modelling 1 different strategy per word using the Think Aloud method. The children then use their individual whiteboards to show and share an appropriate strategy for spelling the words taught by the teacher. Children show and share with a partner, then with other pairs. The children then take their individual common word lists and practice the words on their whiteboards using an appropriate strategy. On day 2, the teacher will revise the strategies from the previous day and the children continue to select and talk about the strategies which could be used. Then they practice the rest of the words on their whiteboards. On day 3, the children will have an opportunity to select their own fun task for individual practice. They then move on to reciprocal teaching, where they will call, write, reciprocally mark and discuss any mistakes. On day 4, the children will repeat day 3 but using a different fun activity. On day 5, the children will record the words learned and dictated. Day 4 methodology. On day 1 of week 4, the teacher and children brainstorm all the strategies they can remember and discuss why they may be helpful. The teacher asks when and why we have rules and will introduce 1 or 2 rules with examples. The children are invited to add words to the teacher's list which follow that particular rule. On day 2 of this week, in pairs the children will recall the rules introduced on the previous day. The teacher dictates words and the children are involved in partner marking and reciprocal teaching. The teacher lists new words and the children work in pairs to discuss and group these words. Once the words are grouped, the children are encouraged to look at these words and discuss. The teacher will lead the children here in composing the rules. On day 3, partners are involved in reciprocal teaching of the spelling rules learned during the week. The children select a spelling activity and share with a partner their learning from the week. On day 4, the children work in pairs as word caller and word writer. The caller will say 10 words learned over this 4-week period and the writer will record them. The words are checked and discussed and the children choose a spelling activity to consolidate their understanding. On the last day of this week, the children tell their partner how they have improved, provide praise and share their discussions with the rest of the class.